I hope you're paying attention now. And I hope someone that you love and admire is pointing out what is about to happen and what is happening right now before us. I hope that in the cacophony of distractions, somebody that you know, somebody that you love, somebody that you trust is pointing out to you what's happening and telling you, here's what's going on. And this is what you should be paying attention to now. This is what is happening. And you're not going to be that, because that would mean something different. That would imply a kind of a comprehensive look as to what is happening. Let me get down to detail. Let me be more specific. First, I'm going to speak to you like an adult. I'm going to speak to you the way I think most people prefer to be spoken to. Right now, the Democratic Party has no idea of what they're doing. Now, let me say this again to you. I want you to understand what's going on. They have no idea what they're doing. Now, they will tell you, oh, no, what we're doing is we are providing this incredible chance to provide the first African American, the first Black, the first Indian, the first woman, okay, the first woman of colors. We're so proud of this moment of history. Yes, shame. Okay, that's great. The problem that has, and the problem that poses, and the problem that involves is fascinating from a variety of different reasons. Let me explain to you. They are hiding her out. They don't know what they're doing with Kamala Harris. Let me say that again. She is reclusive. She is in hiding. She is not anywhere near this or us, or she is nowhere to be found. They're going to push her out of the way and speak about her in the third person, or they're going to be giving out information from her as though she said it, but she doesn't exist. There is no actual person by the name of Shamala Harris. I mean, she doesn't really exist. I mean, she exists, but you're not going to see her. They're going to keep her out of the way as much as possible. She might be a part of some carefully crafted moment where she speaks laughingly about something, but you will hear, listen to me carefully, you will hear nothing about plans. You will hear nothing about protocol. You will hear nothing about ideas. You will hear nothing about what she wants to accomplish, dreams, plans, policy, nothing. You are going to hear nothing. This has never been done before. Never. Pick the president, no matter how bad you think they are, no matter how terrible you think they are, pick the president. And I am telling you like I'm telling you now, there has never been somebody who has had nothing to say. Oh, they might have said some stupid things. Sarah Palin had a bunch of stuff to say. Sarah Palin actually has picked the, I thought she was the dumbest person in the world. No. Sarah Palin didn't talk about inflation, rudimentary inflation, like she's trying to speak to a kindergarten class by analogy. She never speaks like this. I don't think the American public really knows what's going on. And I'm hearing this absolute drivel. I read something by Victor Davis Hanson, who thinks that the world is some graduate level class on the Peloponnesian War. And in this one piece he wrote for AM or American Greatness, it's about how Trump is to win. And he actually said something to the effect of, he has to explain to the American people that Kamala Harris there's never been anybody as leftist, as liberal, as... Now, I've told you this before, but I don't think Victor Hansen heard me, so I'm going to tell him. Maybe he'll let me know. Ladies and gentlemen, Kendra Setlauder says crashing international markets speak louder than words. You know, Kendra, I'm glad you brought that up, dear heart, and thank you for this. I don't know, nor can anybody say why this is happening, but it is incumbent for the president to say, see what happens. Where is the official word from Kamala Harris? Show us her leadership. What will she do during a moment like this to soothe the brow? Will she turn it over to some agent, some individual, some cohort? Is that what she's going to do? Think about it. Donald Trump has got to get out the word immediately. He has never been able to figure out a way, and he goes on Truth Social, which is this stupid thing that not everybody here. I mean, come on. He's got to go and do something on TikTok, or TikTok is very important. Forget to the people that I'm talking about, because I'm talking about the undecided and the independents. That's what I'm talking about. He needs to do this. Donald Trump needs to do this. He's got to go on immediately and not write something or have somebody write for him in capital letters that somebody's supposed to read, or for us to wait for another rally. You've got 90 days. Specifically speaking, you've got 92 days until the election. Can you think of any reason why Trump is still thinking that he can just do what? Now's the time to go in for the kill. Sir, as you love to be called, sir. God has given you a moron, the likes of which no one has ever even imagined. No one, but no one. And what are you doing? I'm telling you, you should be taunting her. Have you heard from her today? Hey, Kamala, come on. Where are you? Where is she? Where is she? How? You've got 90 days to go. You're the brand new. You're this forced candidate on the Democratic Party. Where are you? Where are you? Where did you go? This is, every single day. Anybody seen her? It would drive them crazy. And you know what would happen? People like Jake Tapper, people like this will say, well, President Trump is finding a new way. He's taunting her. And people are saying, okay, Kamala, you're going to say something back, right? You're going to say something back. And if I were Trump, I would drive her crazy. Tell us again about inflation. Tell us about markets crashing. Markets, they're like a supermarket, but they're not. You don't buy bread and milk there, but instead you buy stocks and bonds and commodities and futures. You see, that's why we call it the stock market. Not the food market, not the Piggly Wiggly or the Acme or the Whole Foods or the Trader Joe's. Those are also called markets, but these markets deal with money. And money, as you know, is paper currency or some other form, which called. Bring her out. Force her. Ladies and gentlemen, Lamont Cranston is back. Sparky says, Lionel, my four brothers and I have quoted that Barney Miller episode you spoke about Ever since it first aired, we often cite the magazine from its conspiracy review when we make outlandish claims. How outlandish was it? Remember when that? There was one fellow who was Jesus. There was one fellow who was a werewolf, lycanthropy, one of the great shows ever. Now, I want to show you something very, 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 very scary. Jamie Raskin is basically telling the world that they're going to be guilty of seditious conspiracy because if Trump were to win, listen to this. Did you see this? Listen to what he says. If Trump were to win, they're going to stop it. They're telling you ahead of time. Did you hear this? Listen carefully. And if this doesn't scare you, and watch how he speaks with impunity, with no sense of any concern whatsoever.
What can be put into the Constitution can slip away from you very quickly. And the greatest example going on right now before our very eyes is Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, which they're just disappearing with a magic wand, as if it doesn't exist, even though it could not be clearer what it's stating. And so, they want to kick it to Congress. So it's going to be up to us on January 6, 2025, to tell the rampaging Trump mobs that he's disqualified. And
there's no mobs. What rampaging Trump mobs?
And we need bodyguards for everybody in Civil War conditions, all because the 9 justices, not all of them, but these justices who have not many cases to look at every year, not that much work to do, a huge staff, great protection, simply do not want to do their job and interpret what the great 14th Amendment means. And I'm glad that Sherilyn's creating her new center so we can bring that.
Do you see what she's? Do you see what he's saying? He speaks with an impunity, a sense of almost nothing to worry about, because he knows he has nothing to worry about. He knows that he has absolutely nothing to worry about. Now, by the way, as far as people, let's not mock his hair. He had some cancer and wore a bandana, and we wish him well. Obviously, it's a very traumatic thing, but that's why he might be. So, but aside from that, no. I go to the words of what he says, and what he says is basically telling you, I'm Jamie Raskin. I can do whatever I want. So all of you folks, if you think you're going to come in, no, we're going to be the troops on January 6th. We're going to be, and we're going to use the 14th Amendment, or what we think. I mean, at least this is what he's saying. So this is very simple. This is very simple. And right now, where's President Trump? Where's J.D. Vance? Right now, as the world collapsed, Trump needs to be able to go and not go on, I'm sorry, Laura Ingraham. He needs to speak to us not on a show. He needs to speak to us like FDR did with his own version of the fireside chat and explain every single thing. Bring you and JD together. Talk about it. Do you know what happens? You know, and I know they've got to make crypto go away. They have got to do it. There is no way that in a world that promotes CBDCs and this surveillance, you can't have millions and billions and trillions of dollars exchanged in some kind of a secret, unaccountable, a clandestine subterranean means. They're going to do everything in their power. Do you see what's happening in? Trump's got to be on the TV show every single night, showing pictures from the UK, showing the rioting, mobs of illegals going in and just attacking Britons openly, notoriously, unabashedly, while everybody sits back and says nothing. Do you have any idea? This is the chance. He's got to sit there and say, what do you think, Kamala Harris? She's not even here now. He's not here now. Iran is saying, whether you believe this or not, just read the headlines. Hezbollah is going to go after Israel. And do you know what they're going to do? What do you think is going to happen when Israel is? Do you know what Hezbollah is? No. Well, you do, but America doesn't. They think it's some ragtag group. They've got more. Oh, my God. They are fit to be tied with Israel. Iran, it can't take it anymore. The world is saying enough. Soleimani, the Hamas people going into sovereign country. Well, we did it too. We went to Iran too. And when the you know what hits the fan, and they say, holy wow. When you have either, who was it, Hamas or I forget who it was, who flew drones over these top secret Israeli installations and basically said, hey, look what we're looking at. Well, would you look at that? How about that? Ain't that something? That's pretty something. What's going to happen? And they're going to pick up the phone and where's Joe Biden? He's asleep by what, 7:30? I don't understand it. He's going to be watching Matlock and they're going to be calling him saying, we need blah, 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 blah. And then you're going to have MBS say, no, you don't. Don't you do it. Don't you help. Turkey is ready to get in. Turkey, if you do not want to mess with them. You know what kind of an army they have? It's incredible. We're sitting in, North Korea has what, a 10th? I mean, we are in this world and they have this potential, not just a child, not just a slow child, but an ignorant, spoiled, delusional child with a behavioral disorder named Kamala. And she's nowhere to be found. They're going to ride this out. Let me tell you something. They're going to ride this out. And whoever it is, Josh Shapiro, he's got his problems. As though it matters. She's going to say, I'm out of here. And that big genius, the genius, Barack Obama, oh, he's such a genius, isn't he? Oh, he's such a genius. Oh, my God. Oh, he runs everything. Really? So, Barry, you picked her? This is what Trump should be saying. Trump should just make people say, I've never had anybody talk to me like this before. I've never had a president talk to me like this before. Tell me more. And have him tell you. Look, of course they're lying to me, but they're lying to you. And this is what they're doing. Say something that you want to have so many attacks so that the question from the Democratic Party every day is, well, what about that? What about that? Well, what do you have to say for yourself, Barry? What do you have to say for yourself, Barry? You're in charge of this? Let me get this straight. 14 million Democrats picked Biden for whatever it's worth, right or wrong. They wanted him. They went to the primary prize, the whole bit. And then you come along and you supposedly threaten a man who was brain dead. Come on. You didn't threaten anybody. Let's face it. He had to step down. But the point is, Democrats weren't demanding it. You did. Because you thought he was going to lose. Well, he was. So then who'd you pick? This one. And then in a second, in retrospect, they say, Biden really wasn't that bad. I'll take Biden now over this one. Because she doesn't know what she's talking about. She is somebody who, thanks to Willie Brown, and to read the one about Sharon Stone's ex-husband, Bronstein. Did you read about that? Oh, this gal got around, smoking cigarettes and drinking wine. Hey, Spody. Oh, man. She is something. I mean, she's like this weird. And of all the people, she goes from Willie Brown and his band of renown, Mr. Assembly Speaker of California, Mr. San Francisco, Mr. Get Things Done, finer things. But Montel Williams, there was that other girl that Montel was with. You see that? Shamala wasn't even a part of it. She wasn't his main squeeze. She was like one of the two arm candies, standing around looking like, hey. Like the GHB just kicked in or something. Like, hey, want to do a couple of Loos, couple of Gorilla Biscuits, and a Tanqueray? Let's go wild. This is the president? Then this newest one in Daily Mail about how she was at some bar and she's smoking cigarettes. Oh my God. This one went from that to DA to an AG to senator. They love doing that. Look what they did to Barack Obama. This guy, I don't know what the hell. I don't know what. This one was just, oh man. The farm picked him out a long time ago. The company. Somebody picked up, ooh, this is good. We'll pick him. Where'd you go to school? Oberlin? Maybe. We're going to say Columbia. Columbia? Yeah. Nobody remembers me at Columbia. So what? So what are you going to do? Remember his girlfriend? He had some girl he wrote. So much for that. I don't know how they roped Michelle into the story, but these people, they just come out of nowhere. Say what you want about. There's George Bush. There he is as a kid. There's fifth grade. This is George and Barbara's son. Here's George. Here he is. Here he's at this. He's a play. He's a cheerleader. He's at Yale. He's Skull and Bones. He marries Barbara. There's the first kid. He does this stuff. But these folks out of nowhere. Who's Barack Obama? I don't know. He's a community leader. A what? A community leader? What the hell does that mean? I don't know. Next thing you know, state senator, Illinois, boom. U.S. and there he goes. Straight to the top. Ta-da! I'm not saying he's not good or smart or talented. And thank God when you're running against John McCain. But there you go. And here's this one. This dingbat. The staff hated her. She treated people like garbage. You couldn't look at her, they say. I mean, oh, listen, that's not enough to disqualify her. But what kind of a nut is she? Who in their right mind thought, she'd be great. This is what we've got. And now she's hiding out. Am I making sense to you? Do you hear what I'm saying? Tell me I'm making it. Tell me this makes sense. Do you understand how screwed up this is? They're not saying a word about it. And what's Trump doing? Nothing. I love the guy, but J.D. Vance is putting us more as a Maybelline or something. He's doing his thing. I don't know what he's doing. But nobody's saying anything. Nobody's saying anything. Nobody's doing anything. Nobody's paying attention to this. Nothing. We are in the ride of our life, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. And I want actions, and I want you to crush him and crush the Democratic Party. But like I said, so I read this Victor Davis Hanson piece. I'm saying, oh, Vic, come on. Buddha Bodhi TT Boy says, you make sense, sir. Damn right, BBTB. You better believe it. And I see this. Here's how we can win. Explain to people how he has a leftist record. And her record, well, we don't know exactly where it is, but she is far more leftist than he is. What? That wouldn't lure me out of a burning building. How many times have you heard this? How many times have you heard it? That's what you're going to do? You're going to say, okay, look. All right, VDH, talk to me. You got a couple of minutes here. I don't think I'm going to vote. I mean, I could go either way. I'm not crazy about Trump, but I don't know her, but I could because she's a Democrat and I'm a Democrat, but I'm kind of in the middle. So I'm undecided and I'm non-committal. So come on, Victor, tell me, what should I do? Tell me what should I do? Tell me. And he's going to say, well, just tell her that she is part of this leftist. No. And I've said to the point, was ridiculous. Many people think left is good. I know this one guy, he's a real pain in the ass. He always says, well, I'm just an old hippie. Well, I'm just an old hippie. And he loves to say, well, I'm a kind of a lib. I'm a lib. Yeah, I'm kind of a lefty. I'm for 60s. I'm kind of a lefty lib. I'm a progressive lefty lib from the lib of the lib and the lib, and I'm a libby and I'm lib. And and they think left is great. So Victor Davis Hanson says, no, tell them that Carmelita is left. I'm thinking, schmuck, they like that. Have you ever been called right wing? Does that mean anything to you? Seriously, do you, when somebody calls you right wing, do you get offended? Or do you say, oh, look at Edie. Please, folks, we need likes from Mr. L. Thank you, doll. That's my Edie. And don't forget Lynn's Warriors. You better follow her immediately. Can't say it enough. But let me just go back to what I'm saying. This is very, very important. This is the thing that nobody wants to talk about. And the Hannitys don't want to talk about. Right wing to me, I'm thinking, okay, whatever. It's not an insult. To me, left wing is, but that's here. I know people, and I imagine think about this. Think of 4 people, 2 people, 3 people, 4 people that you like. Okay? 4 people that you like. And they happen to be lefties and they vote Democratic. What would you tell them? I'm serious. What would you tell someone that you wanted to convince? Because that's what we're talking about. Independents, undecideds, and kind of people who might be, or somebody who might want to change their mind. What would you tell them? You've got a couple of minutes. Why are you voting for Trump? Why? What would you tell them? And you know what? The first thing I would say is, well, first thing they're going to do is they're going to tell you, oh, imagine I'm Trump doing this. Address all the issues. Somebody say, there's that Trump. And have them say, I'm Donald Trump. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever heard anybody say anything specifically that I've done that they don't like? Tell me. Pick it. I've got a list here for you of things that they say that I've done, but I didn't do. But what have you heard? We had a friend kind of sort of related to the family, young man, who was gay, still is gay, doesn't want us to know he's gay, but everybody knows he's gay because he's on every social media platform saying, I'm gay. And yet he doesn't think we read it, so we're not supposed to let on that we know, but he, which is beautiful. It's the weirdest thing. I'm saying, excuse me, that picture of you dressed up like Joan Crawford, do you think, we see that? I mean, not that it matters, but you do know that, right? It's like when a kid goes like this, you can't see me. No, that doesn't work like that. And one time he said, years ago, if you vote for Trump, you're going to have to go after the trans people. Excuse me, hey, hold it. Are you trans? No, you're not. You're worried about the trans people. What did Trump say about trans people? It doesn't. I sound like Bobcat Goldthwait. What is he? No, he's because he's hates the gay people. No. If there's one thing Trump loves is everybody. Show business, he loves those people. You know how many people in show business are gay? Everybody's gay. Sorry, I'm an exaggeration. 90%. That's the word. No, stop it. Where are you getting this from? Okay, I got one for you. I'm going to have a right to an abortion. You want to have an abortion? Honey, you haven't had a period since Johnson administration. Andrew Johnson. What are you talking about? You worried about this for you? No, I just don't want. Okay, fine. What did Trump ever say? Did he ever say he wanted to federally prohibit this? Trump to be saying this. Did I ever say that? No. This may sound crazy to you. Leave it to the states. You know the issue of capital punishment? I don't know about you. Some people think it's terrible. Some people think it's good. In any event, guess who handles that? Every state. Anybody writing about that? I don't know. I've got some pretty strong thoughts about capital punishment. I'm sure Trump is for it. But I'm not telling people they have to do it. You're not listening. You're telling people things that I'm going to do. Let me tell you something. You know why you don't like me? Because they tell you not to like me. It's my attitude. Be honest. It's my attitude. Come on. It's my attitude. It's the way I talk. It's the way I'm braggadocious. I'm very loud. I'm very, you know what I mean? You're fired. People love this, the persona. This is Trump saying, during the 80s, I was the hottest thing in town. Everybody could not get me on their show fast enough. Howard Stern loves me. No, he doesn't. The View, everybody. I was the hit of New York. This is the truth. When he and Ivana were met, oh my, remember he did the Pizza Hut commercial? He had Trump water, he had Trump this, Trump Tower, the plaza. They loved him. Do you know the story about Woolman Rink? This is the best. This is the best. Woolman Rink is a skating rink right off of Central Park South, and it's in the Central Park. Very nice. And if you like that place, it's very pedestrian. Not pedestrian, but it's more. They have things like Rockefeller Center. That thing is that's too. I mean that's nice too, but this is for regular folks. And it was the jewel. It was the jewel of folks. All right, it was broken down for the longest time. Ed Koch, they were spending more money hand over fist. And Donald Trump came along and said, you know what? I'll take care of this. I'll do it. And I forget what the term was. I'll do it for a half or a tenth or whatever it is. I won't take a fee or something like that. He says, I just want to show you how fast I can get this thing done. And they said, anytime, Ed Koch, how am I doing? How am I doing? Ed Koch, biggest phony in the world, this closeted gay guy who let people die during AIDS. He never had, everybody knew he was gay. That's the part. If we could go down the list and say, everybody knows he's gay, he's gay, he's gay, he's gay. Nobody cares. I respect somebody who says, that's it. Say what you want about booty juice. We know he's gay. There was this Jim McGreevey, the governor of New Jersey. Everybody knew he was gay, and he finally said, I'm gay. Okay, fine. Nobody gets it. You don't have to get married and pretend all of a sudden, oh, you just found out? Oh, this is your wife? Yeah, okay. All right. So anyway, so Trump comes along and he says, let me pick up the phone. He calls up the Garden or calls up the Rangers or calls up somebody and says, listen, who does the ice rink? You guys put in an ice skating rink all the time during hockey season for the Rangers. Who do I talk to? He goes, talk to this guy. He knows the best. And I'm paraphrasing this story to the point of, and he said, listen, we got a problem. He said, somebody said you got to use rubber hoses. You do this. They don't freeze. They don't do this. Blah, blah, blah. I'll show you how to do it. We do it all the time. We put together, think about this, every week, ice skating, which is hockey, and Zambonis and everything. Make it flat. And he did it in no time. Why? Because he went to experts and he did this thing. He said, talk to the guy who knows how to put in the ice. He works. He's like anal about stuff. People that know him will say he has hotels. He says, listen, I'm going to get the best TV there is, but I'm not going to waste money. I want to know what kind of TV. I want to see the carpet, the bedding, everything. There's no detail too small. I want to make it work. I'm into logistics. That's what I do. They've worked their whole life. You can think whatever you want of them. I remember hearing stories when the kids would go, where the father would go to his various properties and on the weekend to get the money from the laundromat. I mean, these people are, millionaires, and they're doing little piddly things just to work. No work was too big or too little. It's who they were. It's who they are. It's who this guy is. He doesn't mind working. He loves this stuff. And he loves being president. And numbnuts, Kamala, doesn't know what you want. They've got her hidden. Hidden. Do you understand that? Fishman says, if Trump is reelected, will he reinstate the Smith-Mundt Act, in your opinion? I think that we'll talk about that is the most overrated. You don't need any kind of propaganda. I mean, it's nice. I mean, it's one of those things that we love, but seriously, does it really? You think anybody's going to follow it one way or the other, as far as propaganda goes? CE Camera says, "Is yellow journalism only reported by age?" Oh, please stop it. And I'm going to tell you. And is this, by the way, is this Kamala? Is this a black swan operation? That's what I want to ask you. What Andrew Hastings says, what people don't understand when Trump talks is that he is a salesman, really. This property is his best, incredible furnishings, etc. Well, he is, but they're jealous of him. They're jealous of him. They hate him because they're jealous. And when you have people, let me explain to you, there are people who are, we live today in a world of I know more people who are this. I say this all the time. I hate people. I'm sorry. I know I'm not supposed to say it. I hate people. I really. And right now, there are these people. I wish I could show you. There are these people that we know, and I can't stand all of them. And they want to tell you how rich they are, how wealthy they are, how beautiful they are, how gorgeous they are, the life they live, living the good life. Well, we're going to, or where are you going to? It's a big thing. Are you guys going away? What? Yeah, people here have homes. Growing up all my life, I didn't know anybody who had a home other than the home we lived in. I mean, you might want to go to the beach. Maybe they have a condo. Maybe. We just never had that. I don't know anybody. I have rich people, friends. Nobody here. Well, it's our house, and we're going to go to the Berkshires well, it's my home. And, oh, okay. I got to tell you this story. One time, I wrote this story, and Mrs. L is far better than I am. Oh, and they all know. Here I am at Mar-a-Lago. I don't want to go to Mar-a-Lago. Here I am at Mar-a-Lago with Trump. I know Trump. Really? That's great. I know him. I know you know him. Here I am. Look, I love him. Donald. You call him Donald. Oh, okay. Yeah, I wouldn't call him Donald. You call him Don. Oh, I've known Donald. Oh, God. Oh, gee. Really? Okay. Anyway. So one day I did this thing on Facebook. I took a picture of a pink, kind of an Airstream. You know those Airstream trailers? Those old aluminum things? But this was like pink. It looks like something like Barbie would have it. But it's just horrible. It looks beat up. And I said, Mrs. Allen, I can't wait to go to the Hamptons. And I made this story about how we go and we hook this up to old Shoe Baby, our station wagon, and we go out to the Hamptons, and there's this parking lot that we like. It's actually part of a Best Buy. And we park in the corner, and I give the security guard a couple of bucks, and we park there. And every now and then we'll go into the town, into the gas station to shave or whatever it is. And I made this story up about this is how we go to the Hamptons. This is where we live. We go to the Hamptons, but we live in this Airstream, horrible, beaten down up trailer. And it's a story that anybody who reads it would realize right away, it's a joke. This guy's kidding. It's a joke. He's mocking you. They didn't get it. We love the Hamptons too. Oh, Jesus. They didn't get it. These people either love him or hate him because they're phony. They have no depth. They don't understand what he does. And it's one of those things that you just don't understand. So I wish that Donald Trump, I swear to God, his message is very simple. Like you're selling something. The first thing is, let me ask you something. Now you don't have to answer, and don't tell me. Don't tell your friends this, okay? But listen, do you want 4 more years of what you've been through? Just don't tell anybody you talk to me. Seriously. Do you know what would happen if Kamala Harris? Look, I'm sure she's a nice person, but if you've heard her speak, right? Okay. Have you ever seen Kim Jong-un? I have. They told me you can't talk to him. Why not? Because it's Kim Jong-un. Well, why not? Well, because this guy is, the whole country is a garrisoned army. They have mountains. These are the greatest mountain engineers. They're nothing but Air Force bases inside these mountains. They've been waiting to be attacked since their inception. This guy I want to talk to. This is the guy I want to talk to. And they told me, don't do it. No, don't talk to him. Why not? Because he's crazy. He's not crazy. Let me talk to him. And sure enough, hi, how are you? And Trump did something that was so beautiful. I will never forget this as long as I live. And it showed me it was the hostage negotiator in him. And I know what he was doing. I know exactly what he was saying. I know exactly what he was doing. And I know exactly the message he was trying to put across. One of the things which hostage negotiators always, when you've got somebody who has people under his control, usually his, and kids or people, and you want to get them out, the first thing you do is you've got to make this guy understand you respect him. I don't think you're crazy, and I don't think you're a nut, and you deserve to be heard. And I'm going to make sure you be heard. That you were pushed into this. You were pushed into this. This is what, you didn't want to do this, but this is what happened. Ramona says, I think you're giving her too much credit. I don't think she's a nice person. I say that, Ramona. That's what we say when we always say, look, it's nothing personal. I'm sure she's a nice person. I don't think she's a nice person. But you say this in person. You say this when you talk about, so people don't think you just hate somebody. You know, Joe Biden, I'm sure he's a nice person. It sounds like, oh, okay, this isn't personal. No, I'm not Joy Behar. I got nothing to, I don't know. You might meet her and think she's the greatest gal in the world. She laughs. I never. How do we know? How do we know? I don't know anything. But I'm kind of with you. You know how I can tell the way she hands her iPhone. She came out of an SUV with an iPhone, with earphones. She's listening to music. Can you believe that? Music. In any event, as I was saying, and what Trump said with Kim Jong-un, he said, this young man has a tremendous responsibility. He took over for his father, and now he's got to run a country. He's got a lot of responsibility and a lot of concern and a lot of worries. I know what he's going through. And I respect him. Oh, my God. I couldn't have said it better myself. Why? Because he's holding those people hostage. What do you tell somebody who's got kids holed up in a... Oh, yeah? I dare you. You're a punk, and you're... Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah? I'll show you what a punk I am. Say goodbye to the kiddies. Oh, no. You don't do that. Ramona says, Trump gave Kim respect. That's all he wanted. That's exactly right. It's the hostage negotiating. Do you know, I told you, you always tell somebody what you want them to hear. I used to always love this trick. I should kid around with my mother. I'd say, you know why you're so great? You know why I love you? I'll tell you. Because you give me space. You don't give me a hard time. You don't make me do menial chores and stupid things like that because you respect me. And she said, what are you talking about? I'm not falling for that. Because you always compliment people for doing things that you want them to do. You always thank people. People always associated with Saul Alinsky. It's not. It's not at all. Not in the least. Soul 76 Can said, not only 4 more years, could you imagine 8? Imagine that. No, I can't. And remember, the thing that's the most important is I want you to think of one thing and one thing only. Don't talk about inflation. I want you to say, let me tell you something. Now, and I'm going to tell you something. And between you and me, there's a lot of stuff that prototypical liberals have said and progressives that I think, well, you know what? Maybe I can see the basis for that. I can understand the basis. Have you ever heard the rudiments of Marxism? The rudiments. Marxism has something to do with totalitarian regimes, the Red Book, and no. Listen to about workers' rights and workers' this and dignity, and it's a class system. None of it will shock you. You say, what? I don't want it. So what I'm trying to tell you is I always will admit, okay, I can at least see I will admit to you that somebody could say, by the strangest of extrapolations, I could see somebody arguing that reparations to black people because of slavery kind of makes sense a little bit because of the same way that property seized by the dude with the funny mustache should be returned as well. And you know what? It's not the strongest argument. I'll give you that one. But what I do not understand, and that there is no argument for, is that men should be competing against women. That's all. That's all. Let me ask you a question. I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to really, really, really answer this question and be as honest. As my friend says, I'm going to be as honest as I possibly can be, which cracks me up. Okay? Listen to me carefully. Let's assume that a woman was born, and she had a pituitary. She was XX, and she had a pituitary disorder, like a tumor in the pituitary, that caused a form of gigantism, but she was enormous. 8 years old, she was 6'8", weighed 250. Now let me ask you something. She's a girl. Let's assume it's a sport that has nothing to do with, like, for example, volleyball. You can be as tall as you want. You can weigh as much as you want. There's no way. Whereas you can say, well, she's not going to be in gymnastics because, she could be. But let's assume, do you think that that's fair? Or would you say, sorry, there's nothing that says you can't do it? Do you think it's unfair? You can't have a girl who's 6'8" and weighs 250 playing volleyball with some fifth grade kids. It's just not fair. Do you understand that? Do you understand how sometimes there are things where you say, this is about equity. This isn't fair. And you can say, you want to find a rule book? Go ahead. Go ahead. I had a thing one time. There was a guy one time they pulled out of a house years ago. I think his name was Hebranco. I don't forget. I think his name was that. It was a sad case. This man, he grew to be like 800 pounds, and he had to take off like the front of his house and to pull it. It was horrible. And we were talking about this on the air. I said, but let me ask you something. I said, let's say I took somebody who's 800 pounds. And they built some kind of a device where he kind of skates up, and I put him in a hockey game. I put him right in the middle. Just right in the middle. Right in front. He completely covers up the net. Completely. He just sits there. He doesn't skate. He's got the gloves. Nothing. The puck. Hit him. Pow, 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 pow. He's so wide. Is that fair? Maybe. I don't know, but there's certain things that's just where you say to yourself, you know what? It's just not fair. It's just not fair. Let me ask you something. I keep saying, let me ask you something, and I'm asking you. Let's assume that there was a guy who was born a man, but grew up or acted as a very slight, looked like a girl, not very strong, not in any way super possessed by virtue of testosterone, but kind of half-assed. Let's say even inferior, barely made the team. Would you want the person kicked off the team if they weren't any good? Be honest. Let's say there's this team that for some reason has this guy who was born a guy, but he weighs like 90 pounds. And he says, there are girls who can beat him up. He's a man. He's just very slight. Would that bother you? Edie Crowley says, fair is foul and foul is fair. Macbeth, very good. A note from the Bard. Now think about this. Raul says this. Dennis says definitely. Marie said definitely. Do you understand what I'm saying? If it did not improve, any performance whatsoever. In fact, if this was a man, but inferior. In fact, teams loved when they played this guy because he was so bad. Would you be objected to it? Would you? He doesn't have any benefit whatsoever. He exerts no special. He's just technically he's a man, but he's lousy, and he never wins. Would you still object to it? No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't care one way or the other. You wouldn't care one way. What do you care? Or if you were doing something where being a man didn't matter. It just didn't matter. It only matters when being male offers an unfair advantage to the point where, let me ask you something also. Can I be honest with you? I'm going to be honest with you. And you're not going to like what I have to say. But I want you to look at this. You know this Italian girl who was crying? You think that's a little weird? You know, she's quit before. So they say, I don't know. She's talking about her father. And she says, does this sound like always somebody who loses? Now, come here. Let me ask you something. You know she's boxing, right? Yeah. You know she's been hit before, right? You think somebody says, now listen, I want you to understand something. You're going to wear the headgear, but you know how to take a punch, right? You know what it feels like, right? Yeah. Okay, let's do this. We're going to spar. And somewhere along the line, somebody somewhere must have really clobbered her. I mean, this guy is good, but she acts like she's never been hit before. Do you find that odd that she quit crying like that? Do you think that odd? What hurt women's sports more? That guy or that girl crying saying, you hit me in the face? It's boxing. They act like it's gymnastics. If Simone Biles, walk up and knock the hell out of somebody, that might be a different story. Uh-oh, Ramon is back. There are always anomalies and exceptions, like your example. But they want to change the rules. Therein lies the problem. They want to change the rules, but I'm saying is they want to change the rules, number one, because their goal is not to destroy competition. Their goal is to make no difference between sexes. And of course, they're all seeing Lionel. We are always watching. Thank you so much for that. Very, very mondo. Ask yourself this question. What do they really want to do? What do they really want to do? What do they want to do? Why are there so few women in Formula One racing? Now, I don't know if there's, I don't even know if there's a male, female difference. I don't think so. Remember Cha-Cha Muldowney, Shirley Cha-Cha Muldowney? She was like a drag racer. She was incredible. She was wonderful. Why is it? What is this? Steve Resor says, member for 7 months, says, she said she's never been hit that hard before. Okay. I'm just saying, I'm sorry, but if you go, I mean, it's called boxing. Ramona says, exactly, they want androgynous people. They either want androgynous people or they want to destroy the rules, and it doesn't really matter. And this might be one that's the most effective. But the question that I'm asking is very, very simply this. It's not that it's a man. It's the fact that it's unfair. That's all. If there's if somehow there was a women's, okay, let's say there were men and women's bridge team, okay, bridge cards, and a man, born a man, dressed later on converted or whatever you want to call it, becomes a woman in a bridge tournament. Does it make any difference to you? Is anybody going to get upset? Hey, that's not fair. What advantage does a male bridge player have over a woman? Or let's say chess for that matter. Sparky says, seemed like something the Italian girl boxer already had in mind to do in order to make a point. Yeah. See, Sparky, you're onto something. And don't they go like this and make this X kind of like this? What difference does it make? It's not that you've got to, hey, she's really a, may I ask something? I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know. Is there any rule against, is there women's chess versus men's chess? I don't know. Is Magnuson against whoever the guy with the, remember the guy with the anal beads? Remember that feller? Supposedly. How does that thing work? Is there women's chess? I don't think so. And if not, why aren't there any women players? I don't know. I don't know these things. Dana Patrick, rather, survived NASCAR. She did it. She was very good. I want you to do two things. Rather than say, it's a man, it's a man, it's a man, ask yourself the question, what is the purpose of this? What are we really trying to accomplish? What difference does it make? That's number one. But also number two, what they want to do is that there is this movement that says we're going to throw in, we're going to do a lot of stuff. For example, we're going to object to any and all forms of prayer. They've always wanted to do this. Prayer before games, prayer before in huddles and football teams and all this stuff. We want to go after religion, number one. Religion we hate with a passion. We also want to do any kind of patriotism. Take that flag down. We don't like flags. We want to destroy the notion of traditional male and female. We want to have you seen where the gay man sometimes is now the homecoming queen? Very popular in some circles. Ramona says, in my perfect world, sports would be divided by weight, size, and skill divisions, but men wouldn't change in women's locker rooms. True. That's another part of it, which is very, very true. Weight doesn't really apply, weight and height, to some particular events. Why are there men and women shooting? Or maybe there isn't. I don't know. But that's not the reason why they're doing it. They're trying to do something to cause as much popular problem as possible. And Ramona, here's the story. Why do you think there are so many freaks willing to do this? Clapton says, this should be a Trump landslide, but the polls show they are basically tied. Why? The country can't be that dumb. Clapton, I don't want to say this, but do you believe people are that dumb to believe the polls? Do you really believe the polls? Do you really, honestly, truly believe the polls? Do you believe the polls? Do you understand? They did the same thing to Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders was through the roof. And they made up this concocted nonsense about Hillary Clinton was, people said, that's not what's going on. When you say the polls, what polls? What polls? It's like if say, I went to the doctor and he said, I'm fine. You go, it's an optometrist. Well, it's a doctor. Our good friend Hockey Gramp says, life isn't always fair. If you can't win in a sport, change sports, not the rules. Oh, that's true. But who are these people? This is the part that gets me, who said, I want to go in and be Leah Thomas, let's say the swimmer, and have and be in a sport where nobody will ever really believe that what I did was what I did, that I earned it. Why would she do that? What's the purpose of that? Who in their right mind would say, I want to be a part of something so that I will never be taken seriously again? Our friends at Burger King says, Burger King proudly supports the All Seeing Lionel Project, helping to combat fake super chats through public funding. Thank you. And you know what? Keep up the good work. It's a good one. There's nothing worse than fake super chats. I will admit to that. Don't let me stop. Do you see what I'm doing? Do you see why this is difficult? We've got a bunch of different issues here. The issue is that, okay, men in the locker room, but what about a case where there's a woman or man in a woman's sport where being a man doesn't make any difference? That's all. Sometimes it matters. Age differences. Age. Junior miss. Like, for example, you have to be a certain age to, I don't know if they have that, but remember they had Miss Black America? Did you ever have somebody who says, well, how black do you have to be? Or they never really worried about that. I don't even know if they have that anymore. Victoria says, will they play a switcheroo and replace Comma Chameleon? No, they have committed to her and she is going to be it. And they're going to say, what are you doing? Because as we speak, people are going back into their districts. They're talking to people, and folks are being asked by their constituents, why is this woman our choice? Why? She's starting a 7-city tour when? Her choice tomorrow. It's going to be Josh. Ooh, Philly tomorrow. Well, gee, I wonder who it's going to be. Well, somebody did say one time that you normally announce it not in the town of the person. Yes. Now, you know what her rally is? What? She's going to announce it tomorrow. She's going to have her first rally tomorrow night, 7-city tour, and she is going to go and she's going to read tightly scripted points. Did you see how much they were allegedly paying influencers $20,000 a piece to show up to the DNC, to the convention? She will have stagecraft like you can't believe. After that Megan Thee Stallion concert, people left right after she was done. Right when Kamala came up, they left. They have no interest whatsoever in her. You're going to see this as her trying her best. Trump has got to, if I were Trump, I'd be on my live format, my live one, as it happened, directly commenting on her piece as it was going. I'd have people watch me, kind of like right side broadcasting. They would watch me comment on her. I would break every rule there was and drive these people crazy. Drive them crazy. And it's not a very long ride, if you know what I mean. That's what I would do. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't wait for this. But please, do not tell me that you care about these things called polls. The polls mean nothing. As I told you before, if you and I walked into the Short Hills Mall, then you have to, this is important. If I said to you, all right, I want you to go up and we're going to pick 50 people. How old are you? 18. Good. You can vote. Who do you want? Trump or Kamala? Let's say it's an African-American. Who? Kamala Harris or Donald Trump? I think you'd be surprised how often people would say Trump, but that counts as a poll, but it doesn't. It's meaningless. That's not a poll. That's not the way you do it at all. Period. Chad says, I have a copyright on this comment. Thank you, Chad. David Moodry says, Olympics need the All in the Family chair lift test that men cannot do. Yes. And if you really want to go into it, we should have, my favorite Olympics is, of course, Lumberjack Olympics. Lumberjack Olympics are the only true form of strength and prowess there is. Lumberjack Olympics, ladies and gentlemen. Breakdancing. So I have not watched any of this. I did like that Turkish shooter who's real. He has his hand in his pocket, who's just very still, perfect shot. I like that. And they showed him and his daughter, and she was speaking Turkish to him. And 61-year-old woman doing what? I used to always tell people I lettered in two-man pallbearing, and nobody listened to what I was saying. It's really a waste of complete and total time. Ramona says polls are out to prove she's doing well. Yes, indeed. And the problem, Ramona, is that the last thing you want to tell these people is that, hey, she's doing well. No need to vote for her. You dig what I'm saying? Okay. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to ask you something, another aspect of this. Mrs. L is on fire. I sound like Alicia Keys. Love is on fire. Oh, Mrs. L is going to be doing lives. Oh, she is out of control. First of all, I want you to go. I'm going to give you this thing right now. And I want you to also, she has memberships. I want you to be a part of the Lynn's Warriors family because she is exploding. And this is it right there. This is her. You go there right now. Sign up. Be a part of it. She's going to be doing lives. What she's doing right now. And do you know the trafficking that went on in Paris? Oh, whenever you have any event that has international membership coming from around the world, it's a trafficking hub. So let me just tell you that much. It's one of those things that just makes no sense. So let me just thank you. Ramona, thank you. David, Chad, Victoria, Burger King, Hockey Gramps, Clapton, Ramona, Sparky, David Resor, the all-seeing Lionel, Edie Crowley, Soul 76 Can, Sean Lucan, Andrew Hessing, CE Camera, Fishman, Edie, of course, Buddha TT Boy, said some Sparky, and Kendra Setlouter. That's a tough word. Now, another one, too, I got to tell you this much. The latest thing, if you want to see anything, go to an airport. And if you want to see the new fads, go to JFK Airport. Okay? You know what the newest fad is? You're going to love this. The newest fad. Wheelchairs. Not really wheelchairs, but these chairs with like little rollers on them where people go and there are people who can walk and you can get people to push you. I guess you pay for it, but you don't have to worry about sitting down. You've got your Man Friday. No, they don't say, well, are you crippled? Yeah, well, how do I know that? I'm telling you, there are people. I saw more people recently in wheelchairs than you can imagine. Play Dancing Queen for Mrs. L. Oh, she loves that. She goes berserk. Dancing Queen, Abba, she goes berserk. Absolutely berserk. But that's the one thing which is incredible. Anyway, dear friends, I thank you. Now, one more time, let me say this again to you. I don't want you to freak out. Things are good. When you hear me give suggestions, I hope maybe somebody is listening and they might say to President Trump, you know what? He's got a hell of a point. Let's do something different. Rather than you just type something or have somebody type it for you in Truth Social, why don't you just open up a little camera and just have some little, and it will be the biggest thing ever. And just taunt her all day long. Say, for example, they're not going to tell you where Joe Biden is. And then have them say, okay, here's where you, and then just tell them all the stuff behind the scenes. Mark Wilson says, speaking of poles, how about the French pole vaulter? Yeah, did you hear that one? Where his mingoon caught the bar. Oh, that's a beautiful one, huh? Can you imagine that one? to go through life. Well, I was disqualified. Why? Well, because I'm so mentalate that, frankly, I'm surprised I got off the ground with that thing. I mean, it was like a baby's arm, for God's sakes. And when I jumped up, it was an incredible thing. I hit that bar. And these tight pants, I know they're wow. Got some extra looks, didn't I? I mean to tell you. Oh, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. All right, dear friends. Let me tell you something. I want to thank you. I love being this with you. I'm telling you, I understand you. I feel like I know so many of you. I've never met you. I mean, I don't think anybody, a couple, but I feel by virtue of this that I know you. And I think of you as your little thumbnail. That's it. I know it sounds weird, but it's true. I know you. And I want to know you better. I don't know how to love him. I think Yvonne Craig, who played Catwoman. I get Catwoman and Batwoman all confused. In any event, don't listen to me. Have a great night, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget Mrs. L. One more time, go there right this minute and sign up. And also be a part of her, be a member of it. She's got things planned and exploding. It's going to be the hottest YouTube channel, Bob Telling. And she's doing a live sometime tomorrow, her inaugural live. So get ready. Whoa. Be on the lookout. Make sure you subscribe so that you know when she's live. Because you never know who might just pop in there along with her. I'm not saying. All right, dear friends, we love you. Have a great and glorious day. See you tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. And until then, as we always say, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Da, da.